Good evening. Let's have a call to order and the roll call, please.
Nancy Kupka.
Here.
Mike Davenport.
Here.
Cheryl Fuller.
Here.
Dan Nicholas.
Here.
Carrie Pavasich.
Here.
Rick Pavanato.
Here.
Joanna Vasquez Drexler. Eleanor Flynn.
Here.
And Kirk Hoffman.
Here.
Terrific. We have a quorum. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We'll start again with the approval of minutes. We need a motion to approve the April 29th, 2019 special workshop meeting, the minutes from the April 29th, 2019 board reorganization workshop meeting, the minutes from April 29th, 2019 closed meeting, and the May 14th, 2019 parent-teacher advisory committee.
So moved.
Terry moves.
Second.
Dan seconds.
Thank you very much. Pavasich.
Aye.
Dan Nicholas.
Aye.
Rick Pavanato.
Aye.
Joanna Vasquez Drexler.
Aye.
Mike Davenport.
Aye.
Cheryl Fuller.
Aye.
Nancy Kupka.
Aye, the minutes are approved. This meeting agenda includes 2 opportunities for comments from the audience. The first reception of visitors is intended for audience members to address the board about any agenda item on which the board will vote. Is there anybody who wishes to address the board about an item that we will vote on? Hearing none, we will move on to recommendations and reports of the superintendent.
All right, we start with representatives of the Education Foundation.
Good evening. I am Diane Richard, a Foundation board member, and I'm very happy tonight to present a check. If everyone from the Unity Club, the sponsorship of a Unity Club at South, please come up here, for $2,000. It was a learning grant that was applied for by Sheldon Davis, Alice Freeland, and Kenny White. And the foundation is very proud and happy to assist them in their project. And at this time, I'd like a representative, Sheldon, or someone to describe their project a little bit that is coming up. Or Kenny? Okay.
Hello, I'm Kenny White. I'm the in-school intervention specialist at DGS. Basically, our club is about unity and for Black students to have confidence, a voice, to mold them into our future leaders, and to do various projects such as be involved in the philanthropy project at DGS, also different fundraising events. We did a food drive this past semester. We came up with different ideas to raise money for Erica's Lighthouse. So basically, thank you guys for this grant. It's going to help us go forward and be able to do much more of the same things and different things. We're planning on trying to do a HBCU tour, which is a historical Black college tour for the students there, and also help us fundraise so many of the students have the opportunity to go. Also, we do meet every Tuesday out of the week, and we want to bring in different speakers to, educate and edify the students, talking about different college developments and just a lot of different things that pertains to Black culture, Black history, and so on and so forth.
Congratulations. Thank you. Here's your official check. Picture right here. You want to step over?
Terry.
Congratulations.
Thank you, and thank the foundation.
Yes.
Thank you for the project in the club. That's great.
Foundation.
Thank you, Ed Foundation. All right. Next item is yours. Board committee and a liaison appointment.
Oh, thank you. No, I still have to open it up. Someday I'm actually going to learn how to work a computer. Okay, so we have the appointment of board committees and liaisons. We heard from, oh, thank you. We heard from everybody on the board, and I just want to reiterate that, you know, everybody on this board is a volunteer, and a lot of time is spent by every person on this board preparing for meetings, coming to meetings, following up within the community, and we are grateful to everybody for their participation. Again, fortunately, everybody stepped up with different interests, so everybody got their first choice, which always works out really well. So Rick Pavanato and I will be on the policy committee together. Mike Davenport will remain the representative to the IASB Governing Board and Delegate Assembly. Mike will also be our representative to the national affiliate of the NSBA. Joanna Vasquez Drexler has taken on the role of representative to the SACID Board of Control and Governing Board. SACID is the School Association for Special Education in DuPage. I'm sure she'll bring a lot of great experience there. Dan Nicholas is going to be a representative to LEND, which is the Legislative Education Network of DuPage County, to talk about pending legislation and be our voice there. And then Terry Pavicic has graciously asked to remain as the liaison to the District 99 Education Foundation. So thank you to everyone for stepping up and volunteering, and we will hear from you all in future meetings. Okay.
All right. We have next item is going to be Scott providing feedback offered at the Parent-Teacher Advisory Committee meeting, which is a yearly meeting that Scott runs for our community. I believe we had a board member there.
Dan was with us.
Yeah,
Dan was there as well.
Yeah, so we met Tuesday, May 14th. So just last week, Karen and Kelly helped plan it, and we had a great event at the North Library. There was 26 of us there. I believe it was about 17 parents. We had 44 RSVP, but if you'll recall, that was a beautiful night out, and we had so much rain before that and after, so I'm sure a lot of people took advantage of that. So, but what we did is we facilitated small groups where we looked at some of our out-of-school and in-school suspension data, and this last year we've been kind of exploring a redesign to our in-school intervention room, and so we wanted to get some feedback from the parents on that process. We did do an exit survey. We are still trying to get all the results back, but the initial results were similar to last year as well. Very positive feedback on the overall event. They really like the small facilitated groups where our staff just interact in table groups. And then our next steps is to process with Karen and Kelly and our rest of our team all the notes that we took for that night. So it was a good event, and I don't know, Dan, if you have anything you want to share?
No, I mean, it was a great event. I mean, the small groups, I think, works really well. I think we had some really good feedback from the groups, both the groups and then before and afterwards, talking with the parents. I would actually encourage you at some point to bring back to the board, to the rest of the board, and it was just on the tip of my tongue and I just lost it. The new program that you're looking at.
Oh, the in-school intervention? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that new program that you have drew a lot of excitement from the parents. And I think the whole board would really appreciate seeing that because I was really excited about that program as well. So if you could bring that at a future board meeting, that would be great.
Yeah.
Okay. Discipline code revisions?
All right, if you'll remember this time last year, we had student handbooks come back to the board every year at this time, and last year we promised that we would bring a unified district student handbook to the board instead of two separate ones for North and South High. We did that, and then we also combined an athletic and activity handbook for both schools as well, so it's consistency across both schools, so across the entire district, and also it's in digital format so that it'll be posted up online, people can access it there.
Search it.
They can search it, you know, it's hopefully much more user-friendly. It also allows us not to be limited by the size and number of pages, so we can link to it all of the supporting documentation that goes along with it. This went out to the board in draft form. I did receive a suggestion back from Mike that we integrated, which was adding the process documents to PE waivers along with the policy pieces, so that's in there as well. This also allows us that if board policy changes or state law changes, that we can update it, send out information to parents saying that this policy has changed, this practice has changed, and everybody's looking at the most up-to-date document. So we think this is a very positive change in a lot of ways. This is up later tonight for approval, and Scott and I will take any questions that you may have about it.
You heard if I note on the discipline code, which is the section 10, we usually bring that to you. In the past, we brought you just kind of that section and kind of talked about the changes. We don't have any changes to that except we changed the words, like anywhere it was saying given to, we changed it to maybe assigned. So that's the only thing so we didn't change any of the substance of the actual code, except for some language changes.
And of note also is that once the board takes action, this is officially board policy then. So it's like a policy that goes into. But we've received recommendation that both the student handbook, athletic activity handbook, both be acted on by the board.
Hank, have we seen any movement at a state level on changes to PE exemptions?
No, only the changes that we brought, what was it, last year?
Yeah,
as a result to the changes in the funding formula.
Okay, so no other changes are?
No other changes that we know of are out there right now.
Well, I think it's beautiful, and I know this was huge. This was not an easy task, so.
And one
I'm glad
final
to see
shout
it.
out to Julie, who did a lot of the legwork on this. It was a work of love for her.
It was.
I can imagine the
Thank you,
reading of
Julie.
it was heavy lifting, so I
Yes.
know the work was heavy lifting.
Scott and Julie and Karen and Kelly did a lot of work, and so did the athletic directors to work on those pieces, so.
Okay. Amended school calendar?
All right, this is the amended school calendar for next year, which we discussed at the last meeting, which is to take that Institute Day at the end of the school year and to move it inside of the school year following winter break. No other changes, no feedback since then, but it's back here just because we take action tonight. Any other questions that we have? All right. Next one also came back. It's the next time around we take action tonight. This is for the following school year, 2021, and it just mirrors the 1920 calendar. So same change, Institute Day after winter break. This is kind of the first approval. There's likely to be changes, just like this year, going into next year.
I can't recall, do we normally take both of them at I don't remember from last year.
Can you speak up a little, Cheryl?
19 and 20 and 20 and 21?
Yeah, usually what happens in May is we approve this year's amended calendar with the emergency days. We kind of set into stone the next year calendar, and then you get the first preview of the year after that.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
Yeah,
like that.
it's always
Are we doing
confusing at this
the
board
same
meeting
day?
because
Yeah.
you're talking about 3 different calendars.
Yeah, okay.
So,
And 2 of them will come back.
and next year's will come back for final approval in May, after hopefully we use no emergency days. And then the next one comes back for final approval, and then you see the one for the year after that. All right.
Okay, lacrosse.
Lacrosse. All right, I'm going to invite Randy and Denise up here to help share the presentation with me here. They, along with Mark and a few others, have done a lot of work around this over the course of the year. At this point, we're prepared to bring a recommendation to the board for the next school year. Tony, if you'll go to the next slide, I'll share the recommendation. So the recommendation from the administration is that both boys and girls lacrosse be fully funded and recognized as district sports programs. Both Denise and Randy are going to provide you some of the rationale behind this and how we got to this point, but that ultimately is our recommendation coming out tonight. So turn it over to you guys.
Okay. Denise is going to start it off. First of all, thanks for having us tonight. Thanks for giving us some time.
Oh, ready? Okay.
You're all set.
Hank took your slide, so I'm like, no, we're off. I thought he was going first.
I got to steal the thunder of the recommendation.
He stole it, yeah. So I just thought it would be nice, since there's new people as well, to talk a little bit about the regulation. Back in 2014, we conducted the same process for the approval for a non-funding of lacrosse, and that got approved. And we've followed all three of the steps here, which you maybe read through, which was a formal proposal and a joint athletic review by Randy and I, and then a joint administrative study with all of us, which brings us here tonight. So, thanks. So we're now on step 4, and we're seeking your approval. And if by chance you approve it, it goes through, the sport is funded, and Randy's going to talk about costs and all those type of things. If by chance it doesn't get approved, it continues. You don't have to go back to the other process all over again. It just will continue as a non-funded sport.
Okay. I thought we'd give you some history too for those of you that haven't been around for these 5 years. 2014, we recognized it before the board as a non-funded. 2 co-op teams, the boys housed at South, the girls at North. In 2014, we started with 2 levels of boys, a varsity and a JV. We had 50 players, no cuts. The girls started with 1 level, 25 players, no cuts. The reason there was a difference is because there was already a pretty thriving community club of the boys in the area at the time. The girls, not so much, and that's coming along now. So currently, the boys have expanded to 3 levels. You can see the growth there, 60-plus players. We have had some cuts. We try to leave those mainly at the varsity level. We don't like to cut any freshmen. And the girls have expanded as well to 2 levels, and they have 50-plus players. The participation fee was $375. This was the first year it went up to $400 per player for both boys and girls. And the main reason for that increase was because we were having a lot of difficulty finding girls coaches who wanted to volunteer. On the boys' side, they're still all volunteer. So the club, and John's kind of our lacrosse director here, had to increase the cost to give them something to come out and coach, something for their time. Next slide, Tom. It's been a fast-growing sport locally. We've seen that same growth in Illinois and really the same growth nationally. Last year was the first year the IHSA put on a state series. We entered both our boys and our girls. They showed very well, and we hosted at Downer South the Super Sectional. So we had both a girls' game and a boys' game. Unfortunately, we weren't in any of those games. Next slide, Tom. The rationale to give you some of the feedback that we were hearing. Or is this yours? Am I taking yours?
You're taking mine, but that's
no,
okay.
you go right ahead. I don't want to step on your toes.
It's okay. Just first and foremost, it's our student athletes have been consistent with the participation numbers. We think that's important for the rationale. Right now, we have 98 boys and girls participating in lacrosse, which is strong and it's been steady. It's very costly for families, and you know we field a lot of those phone calls and whatnot, as probably you all do. And so the $117 participation fee is a nice change, will be a nice change. Lacrosse is the fastest growing sport in Illinois, but also the United States. It's the #1 high school fastest growing sport for sure. The other thing is just providing another sport for students to participate. It's proven to be positive. So I don't know, I'm going to age myself a little bit, but back in 1990, I was here when boys volleyball got presented to the board, and I was coaching. And so we don't come to the table often and go, you know, can we have this? We really kind of pay attention to if it's important, and we ask for an approval. So that's sort of the rationale for that. And then Randy's going to go over the cost.
The numbers guy.
Yeah.
What we're proposing is that we bring on 3 paid coaches, 1 coach per level. A Category D in our contract for the head coach, and 2 Category G assistants, which is right around $20,000. It's actually slightly less. Supplies of about $1,200 a year, tournament entry fees, transportation, officials, contest workers. And we did think it was important to put the Goldie equipment up. Most kids have their own and prefer their own, but that's a big expense if we find a kid, especially a freshman, who says, well, I'd like to try to be a goalie, but I don't have the stuff. thought we better keep that around. So the total cost of $35,000, and we did want to make sure we put the asterisk in there at the bottom that just like every other team we have, every 3 to 4 years, we're going to have to purchase uniforms, and it's right now it's probably about $2,500 a set. On the girls, very similar, but slightly less, with only 2 levels, 2 coaches, Category D, Category G, $14,000. Supplies the same, $1,200. Tournament entry fees, transportation a little bit less because they're not playing as many games. Officials, again, contest workers, and the goalie equipment pretty much mirrors all the way across. Total cost for the girls, $26,800, and again, we put them in the uniform rotation. We did want to make sure that we put the revenue that was coming in. So we anticipate that that athletic fee of $117 would generate an estimated $12,500, which would get close to, but I don't think cover the transportation. If I looked at my numbers right and did the math right, transportation would come in somewhere around $14,000. So the total estimated net cost to the district for boys and girls lacrosse would be just under $50,000. We also wanted to make sure then with that asterisk at the bottom that because of the campus size at North, that we wanted to make sure there would be some additional dollars available if North had to rent fields and transport those kids to those fields. And we estimated that could be somewhere around $15,000. We've been working with Mark pretty closely on that.
Okay, and then on the cost too, we were being generous there just in case, but I'll talk a little bit about some other solutions which could, maybe we'll try to not tap into that $15,000 if we don't have to. We just wanted to make sure we had that available if we needed it. But some general challenges, space is really the main barrier, especially at North, as you know. We have been researching a lot of solutions, and we continue to do so. We've been working with the Park District, as you know, with our agreement, and so they're really analyzing some field space that's an appropriate size that we need to have those practice field spaces for both sides of town if Randy needed them as well. And so we've been working on that. We also have been researching some lighting solutions, portable and permanent. And the portable ones, actually, we just did a test run on, and we're just trying to get an idea. Can we do practices with 1 light? Can we do practices with 2 lights? At the west field by us, and then what would be yours is the northeast field at South. So we're just kind of doing some testing. And also in the fall, the band, we've had some conversations with, and so they're going to help us out too. We may get some lights to let them in the fall. That gives us an extra 2-hour time slot if we can have something like that. And they are pretty reasonable. And then we can look at if there are maybe some permanent options down the road. Obviously, we're so thankful for the master facility plan, which will help us in that February month where we're all just crammed in together, and so that will open up space for us as well. So we know in the future we're going to have more opportunities to solve those problems. The other challenge is right now all the coaches are out of the building, and we ideally love our teachers and coaches to be in the building. We think it's best for kids, and so that's going to be a time situation where hopefully then we're getting teachers who can also coach lacrosse. Next slide, thanks, Tony. And so for the recommendation, we've studied some other schools also in the conference and in the area, and we're just kind of calling it the Glumbard West model because they're landlocked like we are. So they had some challenges. So when it was time and they felt like it was a good idea to fund lacrosse, they did put a stipulation in that, like, let's fund lacrosse, but let's maintain the current schedule because we know it's working and it's not affecting a lot of the other sports or coaching or time right now until we find those other solutions and put those in place. So we felt it was a good idea to talk about that if we can maintain the current schedule and then continue to seek solutions for the future rotations with the other sports, we think that would be best at this time. And it's been working for them, and continue to find those solutions as we discussed.
And that schedule, Denise, is that they have the latest practice in the day.
Yeah.
Right? And in some ways, that has helped us with coaches that aren't on staff, because a lot of them are working jobs, and then they can make it to school and help coach. But as Denise has said, over time, as maybe we attract more teachers, that might not be as interesting to those teachers to have to come back for an 8 o'clock practice, right? So these things will work hand in hand over time as we work on those challenges and solutions.
And just on a final note, going back to 1990 when I was coaching, that is exactly what happened with boys volleyball. So if some of you recall at Downer South, there was the small gym and the main gym before the field house was built. So when I was coaching, we were told, we'll fund lacrosse, but you have to have the small gym until the field house is built, because we have nowhere to put people. So I've experienced that firsthand. We're like thankful, thank you for allowing boys volleyball to start, and now you could see everything's okay, because we had the other space built in. So I thought that would be kind of neat to note that, I experienced it and it was fine, and we understood that at the time. And I think then we can open up for questions for anyone.
So just so I'm clear, just a quick question. We were looking at having a north and south team, whereas right now we have a district team.
No, they'll still be co-op.
They'll still be the
It
same.
still will be a
Boys
co-op
will be
program.
co-op, girls will be co-op.
Yeah.
Okay, so it still will be
That
a
hasn't
District 99 team, not a north team, not boys and girls at north, boys and girls at south.
Right.
Okay.
So I have two questions, and I'm going to preface this by admitting I know nothing about sports. I'm not even really sure what lacrosse is. But sorry, I'm sorry to offend you, I really. But in terms of, we have 98 students, or 100 students. In terms of our other teams, is that a small? Is that a large, or is that a small? That's pretty big, right? So there's a lot of interest.
That's big.
Based on the co-op. that we
Okay,
have.
and in terms of what we spend per team, when you invest like the football team or the golf team, which I know is the most expensive, or the swimming team, is that an average investment? Is that a lot of money for that? Is that a little bit of money for that?
I'd say it's average.
That's
Okay.
what I-
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not, just a number.
Yeah.
Okay. Those are my questions, thank you.
Are we finding enough other schools that are participating in, I'm going to say sanctioned lacrosse, that we're going to eventually probably go into North and South, having their own teams and developing that? Or is the conference something that, we're going to be the co-ed or co-op or whatever you want to call it?
I see it happening eventually,
Yeah.
splitting.
Okay, so it's not.
Yeah, as the sport grows, if it continues to do what it's doing right now, at some point we're going to get that where we say we're cutting too many kids. And we need to open up the opportunities now for both the boys' team and at both schools. It's probably going to happen further out in the future for the girls.
Right.
But eventually it's probably going to happen.
Yeah. So, conference-wise, how many schools do we have right now that are participating in
Oh,
it?
John, what is it, about 6 or 7?
It's
Yeah.
6, yeah.
6 between the two.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what the conference rule is, you have to have at least half for it to be presented to be a conference sport, and we're almost there.
Oh, okay. All right.
We're pretty close.
Yeah, and those are all sanctioned schools. Okay, good.
I have one more question.
Sure.
We can find money, we can make this happen if we vote for this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where do we find?
We've looked at it, it's very tough, but I mean, it's one of those things, that, especially because they're cutting kids, we know it's coming, so
Okay.
we think it's appropriate to put on one of the first things in the new budget and work around it, we'll still be able to balance.
Thank you.
I like
remember
the,
when we first approved this. mean,
I do
it was
too.
They've proved themselves.
They more than
really
proved
have.
themselves.
And it is a growing sport. And I think once we get it in-house, not that the outside coaches are not doing a good job, but I think as a coach, there's an added benefit where that player athlete has the ability to access that coach during the day, in season or even out of season. And I think if we get this under our umbrella, maybe we'll have people in-house and again, not, no offense to the outside coaches, the fact that they're willing to do that, but at least having an assistant coach on staff.
Absolutely.
Of where
Helps a lot.
that girl or that boy could go talk to that coach for any issue that's going on in their life because they have that connection with that coach now. And I only know that from coaching myself. It is much, there's more to it than just the season when you're a coach. There's the whole year. And having that person in-house, I think, I'm glad. There's a benefit to that.
Well, I like the fact that we're offering an opportunity for 100-plus students to participate in another activity. And, the more we can engage those students, the better off everyone is. And that really makes me happy to see an engaged student, so.
And they're representing our district and our schools, just like every other athlete is in our schools, and they deserve to pay the same rate, the $117, to participate,
Absolutely.
to represent the schools, everybody else.
So my question is, because I'm assuming this is going to grow, so costs will grow as well. You're going to run this similarly with booster clubs. It's going to be up and running with opportunities for donations and selling of the paraphernalia and all that good stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
I do have one question I haven't asked you guys yet. It is 2 levels in the spring, which is our toughest season. Do you guys see in the future one of those levels, boys or girls, moving into the fall?
I wish, way back when, before a whole bunch of schools had lacrosse, the Naperville North principal made a proposal to the IHSA to bring the girls into the fall and the boys into the spring. You could share coaches, you could share equipment. And I remember those votes were, 2 for, 3 against, and 20 no opinion. Because nobody
perhaps
had
it might be time to float those ideas again.
Those are proposals that
again.
Ed and I can generate and our conference can generate. So I think it would be a good idea.
Yeah, it's just spring is tough. We know it's our toughest. Weather-wise, you're overlapping with winter sports. There's already a ton of sports going on, so.
The other one that they're considering, just because it's the same season, is they are trying to propose softball to go to the fall. So some places do that. They did have it. It did not pass 1 year. Maybe that was like 5 years ago. But they think that makes the most sense to move one of the field sports that way.
Minnesota, Michigan, I can't remember.
So they tried to get, another one. It's the most sports in a season. And February is really, really hard when the weather's not good. As you could see this year, it wasn't too fun when it was snowing in April. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So we're talking about some temporary lighting, and that would be at, for instance, our new field at Dunham and 63rd.
Yep.
So can we put some, can we run some PVC or something in terms of a raceway that we could, if we ever get to a point where we put something there permanently, we don't have to dig everything up again?
I can't say we can or can't, but I can tell you I can talk to the team about that.
It was already discussed to get power out there for a board or something, like a scoreboard or
For a
something.
scoreboard, yeah, but I don't know
So
about
they'll have a
lights.
raceway for that.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
We could bring it up, that would be good.
We could always put an electronic sign there, too.
Illuminate the field.
There goes the
Move on,
evening.
next.
Are there any other questions about this?
This is up for action later this evening.
I'm sorry, I had to throw that in there.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bond parameter resolution.
Next 3 items next 2 items are returning items from Mark. Bond parameter resolution.
Yeah, and actually, you've had, nothing's changed other than, well, we have a minor change, but we're in a real positive way. When we first floated the idea out here, the interest rates were much higher, 3.85%, and we've had about 1.2% reduction in rate estimates because of the market just getting great. This is really a great market. Also, we did get our application approved for the Illinois Finance Authority. That's probably about another 10 basis points. And then just this last week, you've all seen we've got a upgrade in our Standard & Poor evaluation on the district, which we're real proud of. And it's only 5 basis points, but between those last 2, the IFA and the Illinois Finance Authority, and the basis points over the life of these bonds, and future bonds with the AA plus rating, will save over $1 million for our taxpayers. So,
Wow.
now, the thing that's hard to swallow, but and we can debate it, but it's all packed into that last year, which is pretty far out there, 30 or so. So, I mean, it's out there, because we want to pay off as much debt as we can each year and keep that amount consistent, so that the bond, that the tax rate is consistent, and you pay off as much as you can as soon as you can. And so we're going to keep paying the same amounts off over the next 15, 20 years, and then we'll start to see it, the fruit of this come out in the last bit of it. But
So is that $1 million in this year's money?
yeah, we have about $8.8 million a year that we are currently paying. We're paying before the referendum, and we're filling in all those $8.8 million slots for the next 20 years. And so at the end of that 20 years, that's when one of those will be $3 million. Actually, overall, from what our original projection was, it was going to be about, I think, $6.5 million, that very last one. But now it's in the $3 million range. But,
Okay.
but just those two little changes this year are saving us $1 million.
Excellent.
So that's it.
Great news.
The parameters gives Nancy and the superintendent the authority to approve this when we go to bid. And we expect to have that happen in early June, and then with closing at on the 27th of June.
Great.
Excellent.
Obviously, we greatly appreciate
Yes.
that Mark and his team, the work Mark and his team have done to get us to this point. So.
Absolutely.
This one is also up as
Yeah.
a resolution later on this evening.
Right.
Technology lease.
We have, just to be clear, so we have to approve the idea of spending less,
Correct.
That's great.
It's a nice change.
It is. It's
Nice little
good.
tweak.
Nice change.
Good.
Technology, nothing changed since our last report on that. That's to fund the current Chromebooks and tablets, and it's replacing another one that's falling off, because we have these, kind of rotating. It's a good way to finance these over the term of the time that we get the money from students to pay for them, and at least a portion of what they're paying for. So no changes since that original memo and that report. It's an action item for tonight.
Thank you.
All right. Any questions on that one for Mo? All right. Bring Jim up for summer capital projects.
Here I am.
You're back in the
Here
far
he
40.
comes to save the
I
day.
don't even know where I'm at.
Hey, let's go.
Rick is there to greet our guests.
It's like Walmart.
Go way back.
We do. Okay. With all the MFP going on, capital's still there. So we got some projects that we bid out. We had White and Company, our architects and engineers, put bid specs together. We had 4 projects. All 4 were bid out. I'll go through them because one of them we're going to push till next year. So the 3 projects for North, we have the underground track locker room area. And for South, we have the pool, the auditorium lights, replacement for LED lighting, and also the women's, men's locker room area in the underground track as well. So those are 3. The 4th one, and I explained it in the memo, but I'll talk about it briefly here, is the auditorium lighting at North. So the plan, we ran into a couple problems at North because the existing fixtures were overheating and the wiring was getting burnt from the fixtures back down to the panel. So we thought we would put a lower level light in there. And at first, when we were talking last year, well, it's perfect timing because we're taking the auditorium at South down. We just put those LED lights in 2 years ago there. Why can't we use those at North? And for 6 months, I was under the impression, and we went back to it, that we couldn't use them. But we went out to bid to see if we can get the new lamps, and the bid came in very overpriced. So I went back to White and with the electrical engineer and walked through it with him, and lo and behold, we can use the fixtures from South. And it's perfect timing because you know what's happening next year as we go into the summer. beginning of June, we'll be taking those down in the South Auditorium, so we'll bring them over to North and save some funds. So we will rebid that for next year's capital. There are some funds that were allotted for North that now will go back into their list of needs. So some smaller projects that won't be bid out will be put back into North's budget, and we'll do some work there with the remaining funds. These bidders that are on the memo are the low acceptable bidders. Familiar with the contractors, we went through scope with them, so they met all our bid requirements. So later on, we'll be asking you to approve the cumulative amount for all these low bidders. Questions on capital?
All right, the gym show continues with master facility plan bid progress.
Okay, so I'll get to the bid number 3 in a second. Many upcoming bids in the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months. In fact, we're trying to bid everything out by the end of this year for all the work for the entire MFP. Wow. Next one coming up will be June 5th, but back to number 3, and then number 4 I'll explain in a second. This was really, the main one was the fire protection and sprinkler system. So we had some landscaping in there and some demo and some signage, but those were small. The big ones were the fire protection for both schools, obviously, with new building and renovations. We're sprinkling all those areas, so that's huge. And we're replacing the fire alarms in both North and South High School in its entirety. And we are going to do piece by piece, having both run side by side throughout the next 2 years until we finish the project. The one bid that came in for North, and that's the fire sprinkler, was very high, about $300,000 over. So we went back, looked at the specifications. We're redoing that and bidding it out on June 5th to see if we can get some better pricing. But all these other numbers were within the budget of what we expected. Did not know really why that one came in so high. And Valley Fire Protection also bid on it, and they weren't lower, so we kind of figured something was going on, so we went back, and it was some wiring issues at North, so I think our specs will be better as we go out for June 5th, but this is the quick update for the 3rd. Also, we went out to bid for bleachers, and we did not receive any bids. Again, we had to go back to the folks that were going to bid on it. We're going to rebid that more than likely. We're getting some numbers from them because we bid it out once publicly, so we can do that. Questions again about sealing and waterproofing of those squad rooms came into effect. So we're working through that. We may bid that whole package out again for the bleachers because we're really trying to get that going for the fall to be ready in spring. There might be some caveats to that, so I'll keep you posted as we go through. Questions on MFP bids?
So you mentioned that trying to get the entire MFP out to bid before the end of the year.
Correct.
Is that what I heard? Mm-hmm. So how does that work in terms of pricing with the guys bidding the work? They may be bidding on something that they won't be working on, or at least portions of it, for a year and a half. You know, what? How are we liable to get any cushion put into those bids because they're looking at potential for inflation, things like, you know? I'm just questioning whether or not that's really the best procedure.
We're thinking that they're going to be aggressive to get work and get it under the belt for the next year or two. A lot of these projects take 12 to 18 months worth of work. So many that they're bidding out on by the end of the year is going to be work that's going to start that soon and go for a year and a half. So if you think about it, we're going through such a fast pace here. So many of them will be aggressive to get that work and solder in the next 18 months. Because a lot of it will take that long. So we're looking at it as a positive note to get these hungry people out there so they can bid in now times, even though a year or two from now it might be much higher.
And part of the challenge we're seeing right now is that there's a limited amount of work any contractor can do in a period of time, and with our bids coming out here in the spring, we're finding a lot of contractors have already filled up their book of work for this summer. So sometimes getting a good number of bidders has been challenging because they can't take on any more work. Where we're thinking about going about it this way, we're the first one out there that they're assigning work to, and we hope that then they're aggressive to come in and get that as their first set of jobs.
This is something White's advising us on?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, so that's worth.
And we knew that this, like the bidding environment now would be challenging because of when our timing was. We also know there's other school districts in the area that have passed similar type referendums that are going to have major work coming online over that time, and we want to beat them to the street. We want to be the first ones out there. So we're ahead of them and not competing against them for work.
And one more point is that White's projections included some inflationary numbers for the prior year.
Okay.
The former, fall years.
The lighting in the pools will be, that's greatly needed, I think. The color temperature, is that something that there may be some change to that? Actually?
I don't know about color temperature. We will have a dimming system, and because every new light that you put in now has to have that by code. And they're high level lights, since it's 30 feet to the top.
Will the lighting level be able to get a little higher than what it is right now?
I think at full, it's going to be brighter.
Good.
In there.
Yeah.
It's very dim with those.
Yeah. I think it'll make the pools look like almost new environments, honestly. You'd be amazed.
You'll know the difference when you go to
Yeah.
south after it's finished, and then head over to north, because north will be not far behind doing theirs as well. And then also putting in some incentives to get some funds back for lighting throughout the MFP, but also the capital. So always doing those reimbursements.
I think the lighting at north is actually worse than the lighting at south, in my opinion. Great that they're both getting done, though.
Yeah, exact same lights.
And more energy efficient and all that, so. Perfect. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, moving on.
FOIA requests, 3 received.
Master facility.
Oh, master facility plan, I jumped one.
That's a big
We got him.
Just some quick updates. Obviously, we had a groundbreaking ceremony tonight. We had another one at South. Great events. Thank you for everybody who came out to those. We've received our building permits from the village, and construction is underway, both at North and South. It's very apparent here at South as you drive up to the building, and North it's on the back side of the building. We saw some of that today, and they're up and moving. And so we're racing now through the summer to be ready for when everybody returns. As soon as students leave in the next few days, you're going to see a lot more, especially at South, with parking lots and right inside of the building and the front of the building. North, a lot of that will be contained inside for the beginning of the summer, but towards the middle of the summer, you'll see the area outside of the cafeteria where the loading dock is and that kind of area get cordoned off, and construction and demolition and all of that stuff begin towards the end of the summer for the phase 2 parts. So now we're off and running for the next couple of years.
I heard tonight that they're going to pour concrete in the loading dock area real soon here.
Yeah, they have the footings in, and they have some of the walls in.
But I mean the slabs, so they can start taking deliveries through there even in the short term.
They're
correct?
actually about 8 days ahead of schedule at North. Obviously, it's going to get wicked paced at South, and it's much trickier at South this summer than it is at North, but they're way ahead of the game at North because they got in there fairly early, and they're really moving. And then that will make room for the existing dock to be demolished by the end of the summer to make room for the new gym. So if we stay on schedule and stay ahead of time at North, it's advantageous. It's going into the fall, and then if all goes well at South, and especially in the main office area, that's my one that I'm really worried about, that I'm hoping goes well, because there's so many things that could go wrong that I don't want to, but let's hope not.
Well, I congratulate you and the entire team for being ahead of schedule, because this year has been, I don't need to tell everyone how much rain we've had. I mean, projects are running behind all over the place, so the fact that we can say we're not only on schedule, but maybe a little ahead, that's really
That's
commendable.
fab.
So excellent work by the team.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Is that it?
That's it.
Have there been
Now
freedom?
FOIA.
Have there been any freedom of
3.
information requests?
3 received and 3 responded.
Responded. Okay, we're going to move to the portion of the agenda related to the consent agenda and then recommendations for action. Because we have such a jam-packed agenda, both on open and closed, I'm just going to run through the motions. I apologize if it sounds like a pharmaceutical commercial, but does anybody have anything they'd like to remove for further discussion from the consent agenda?
I do not.
I do need to make, I
Okay.
need to point out 2 additions as of today. So the posted consent agenda for personnel appointment has been amended to include the teacher that we signed at 4:15 this afternoon. And the personnel report for resignation also was amended to add a resignation there as well. So Sam Washer is the teacher that we added, and Marissa Charleston is the resignation that we accepted. This time of the year, it's very fluid, and partly we need to do these things to be good neighbors to districts who we may be taking people from, because otherwise they have to wait till the June 17th board meeting for the hire to be official, so then they're losing a month potentially and getting started in hiring. So those are 2 changes that we wanted to make you aware of.
Thank you, Pete.
Very good.
Anything else anyone wants to remove? Hearing none, we need a motion to approve the consent agenda that includes the personnel report, appointing certified, appointment classified, transfer of position classified, the personnel report, resignation certified, resignation classified, the personnel report, termination classified, the financial pages, the student tours, the SACID Board of Control Governing Board appointment resolution, the approval of the treasurer's surety bonds, the approval of district auditor services, the approval of district depositories, and the approval of the 2018-19 school calendar amend to drop emergency day.
So moved.
Second.
Terry and Mike.
Thank you, and thank you.
Sorry.
Terry Savas.
Sit down there next one.
Gotta be faster.
Yes.
Thank you. Mike Davenport.
Sorry.
Yes.
Thank you. Cheryl Fuller.
Aye.
Dan Nicholas.
Aye.
Rick Pavanato. Aye. Joanna Vasquez Drexler.
Aye.
And Nancy Kupka.
Aye, and the consent agenda passes. Now we're going to move on to the recommendations for action
These were all items discussed earlier in the meeting.
in the meeting. So the first, and we can discuss it more if we need to, but the first is we need a motion for the Board of Education to approve the 2019-20 amended school calendar as presented.
Go ahead.
Joanna?
I can second that motion.
You can move
I
it.
moved a motion, okay. I was reading, I wasn't paying attention.
Joanna moves.
All right, we got a second.
Sherelle?
Cheryl seconds. Thank you. Joanna Vasquez Drexler.
Aye.
Cheryl Fuller.
Aye.
Dan Nicholas.
Aye.
Terry Pavasich.
Aye.
Rick Pavanato.
Aye.
Mike Davenport.
Aye.
Nancy Kupka.
Aye, motion carries. The second is the approval of the 2020, is for the motion for the Board of Education to approve the 2020 to 2021 school calendar as presented. Joanna? Speak up a little bit.
I moved motion.
I'll second.
Mike?
Thank you. Joanna Vasquez Drexler.
Aye.
Mike Davenport.
Aye.
Cheryl Fuller.
Aye.
Dan Nicholas.
Aye.
Terry Pavasich.
Aye.
Rick Pavanato. Nancy Kupka.
Aye, the motion carries. The next item for consideration is the issuance of not to exceed $60 million of general obligation bonds approved at the March 20, 2018 referendum and to be issued by the district pursuant to Section 19-3 of the school code for the purpose of paying certain costs of improving the sites of building and equipping additions to and altering, repairing, and equipping existing buildings and equipping outdoor facilities and enclosed structures. Said projects including but not limited to constructing security improvements, increasing accessibility under the Americans with Disability Act, enclosing all or a portion of the outdoor courtyards to increase indoor learning spaces, renovating classrooms, science labs, vocational labs, and learning spaces, and completing the installation of air conditioning in all classrooms, and that the Board of Education will consider the adoption of a resolution providing for the issue of said bonds and the levy of a direct annual tax sufficient to pay the principal and interest thereon. This resolution sets forth the parameters for the issuance of said bonds and sale thereof by designated officials of the district, and summarize which are the two of us, and summarize by the pertinent terms of said parameters, including the specific parameters governing the manner of sale, length of maturity, rates of interest, purchase price, and tax levy for said bonds. May I have a motion for the board to vote on the resolution providing for the issue of of not to exceed $60 million in general obligation school bonds, Series 2019, of Community High School District Number 99, DuPage County, Illinois, for the purpose of paying certain costs of those capital projects approved by referendum at the March 20th, 2018 general primary election, providing for the levy of a direct annual tax sufficient to pay the principal and interest on said bonds, and authorizing the proposed sale of said bonds to Raymond James and Associates Incorporated or the Illinois Finance Authority.
So moved.
Terry moves.
Second motion.
Who's seconding?
Wow. We're going to give it to Joanna because she's the new girl.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Any discussion? Julie, please. No? Say again?
I say you said it all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Julie.
Breathe.
And with bifocals. Julie, please call a roll call vote upon the motion to adopt said resolution.
Terry Pavasich.
Aye.
Joanna Vasquez Drexler.
Aye.
Mike Davenport.
Aye.
Cheryl Fuller.
Aye.
Dan Nicholas.
Aye.
Rick Pavanato.
Aye.
Nancy Kupka.
Aye, the motion has carried and said resolution is adopted. Julie, please record the adoption of the resolution in the records.
Delighted.
Okay, moving on. We need a motion for the Board of Education to approve the modification of the existing master lease with Wintrust Capital in the amount of $1 million and authorize the administration to sign and execute all necessary documents related to this lease modification.
This is a technology.
This is technology.
Yep.
Is that a motion?
I move.
I second
Sherelle moves. Joanna seconds.
Thank you. Cheryl Fuller.
Aye.
Joanna Vasquez Drexler.
Aye.
Mike Davenport.
Aye.
Dan Nicholas.
Aye.
Terry Pavasich.
Aye.
Rick Pavanato.
Aye.
Nancy Kupka.
Aye, motion carries. Next is the motion for the Board of Education to approve the 2019-20 Student Parent Handbook, which contains the Student Disciplinary Code and the Athletic Activities Handbook.
I'd like to move that.
Mike? Rick looks like he's...
I'll second that.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Appreciate your support.
Mike Davenport.
Aye.
Rick Pavanato. Rick
Rick.
Pavanato.
He just said aye.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I apologize. Joanna Vasquez Drexler.
Aye.
Cheryl Fuller.
Aye.
Dan Nicholas.
Aye.
Terry Pavasich.
Aye.
And Nancy Kupka.
Aye, motion carries. And finally, Terry, get ready.
I'm moving in on this one.
The motion for the Board of Education to approve the combined list of low acceptable bidders award of contracts in the aggregate amount of $564,755.00 as presented.
So moved.
Terry?
Second.
Mike?
Thank you and thank you. Terry Pavasich.
Aye.
Mike Davenport.
Aye.
Cheryl Fuller.
Aye.
Dan Nicholas.
Aye.
Rick Pavanato.
Aye.
Joanna Vasquez Drexler.
Aye.
And Nancy Kupka.
Aye, motion carries.
Before we go to old business, I
Yes.
just want to note, I did say during lacrosse that it was up for vote tonight. I misspoke. Items like that are always at the following
Next
meeting after they're presented. So just in case I confused anybody, I'm sorry.
You confused me, and I was going to
I
ask you about
know, I
that, but
know.
later on.
I just misspoke.
Okay, old business, we have the Policy Committee report, second reading.
I've received no questions since
No
last time,
questions.
Rick, or?
Yeah,
No.
I haven't heard.
Okay. Then we'll move on to new business.
Can we actually vote on?
No, we
Oh, I'm
need to
sorry.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion for
Sorry.
the board to approve the policies as presented.
Seconded.
I've still got the vapors from my run there.
Thank you, sorry. Rick Pavanato.
Aye.
Dan Nicholas.
Aye.
Terry Pavasich.
Aye.
Joanna Vasquez Drexler.
Aye.
Excuse me.
Aye.
Mike Davenport.
Aye.
And Cheryl Fuller.
Aye.
And Nancy Kupka.
Aye. Policy Committee carries. Okay, now we move on to new business, which is bittersweet. The recognition of our outgoing student board members and introduction of the 2019-20 student board members.
Well, we'll start out by recognizing Ellie Flynn and Kirk Hoffman. Thank you for a wonderful year. We've turned to you many times this year to ask for your opinions on things. And I don't know if the whole board knows, but one of my goals this year has been to shadow students. So the first two students I shadowed this year were Ellie and Kirk, and experienced their jam-packed days for each for a day. So I did a lot of learning from them this year as well. So
When you did that, did you do the whole day?
the whole day.
Good, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Absolutely.
From start to
Yeah, and their whole
finish.
day is long. They got tough schedules.
And I bet they didn't know that when they signed up for this, did they?
That I was going to follow you out.
Surprise!
Do the new people know that?
The new people know that, yeah.
So you were pooped afterwards.
Oh, I was exhausted. These guys have tough schedules, and they're busy volunteering, and they're they're busy both inside and outside of the school day. So
Awesome.
it was a good experience, and we appreciate all of your perspective this year, especially around the master facility plan and both of you in pilot classrooms to provide that feedback. So you've served a lot of roles this year. So thank you for all that you've done.
Thanks.
So, yeah, what's next? Ellie, we'll start with you.
Next year I will be attending University of Iowa, and I'll also be playing field hockey there. And I am not sure for sure what I'm going to study, but I think maybe international relations. So, yeah.
Very
Very good.
And Kirk?
Next year, I'll be attending the University of Wisconsin-Madison, where I hope to join the University of Wisconsin band and study chemical engineering.
Awesome. Very good.
Good luck to you both.
Yes.
What's your instrument?
Clarinet, but I might switch to trumpet. Who knows?
Ooh. Look at you.
And we expect to see you back. You know,
Yes, visiting all
the
the
ribbon
time.
cutting is at homecoming, so hopefully we'll see you back for that. Make sure you let us know how things are going.
Yeah.
Thank you for
wave at
everything.
us.
And I just wanted to say thank you to everyone on the board for the opportunity. And I think this is like a really cool role for students, and I'm excited for the ones who are incoming from both North and South. And I just think it's a cool opportunity for students to learn in the community, like outside of the building, but still be in the community and just know what's going on in their school. And it's important for like the transparency between students and administration. So I think I really appreciated it. I think Kirk did as well. So.
Yeah, I think it's been a really good opportunity to not only like learn about how this all works, but have like a voice in the creation of this and get an inside look at how this all works, and how people are thinking about this from the administrative level. It's not just this is just an idea and everybody just goes along with it. There's a lot of discussion and time and a lot of personal effort from everybody going into making sure that these things are the best things possible, and it's really cool to be a part of this, and I'm glad it's continuing on to let more other people see into this whole process.
I didn't ask this of the last students, but is it something, and I know it's a long ways for you guys, but would you consider being a board member as a community person, as an adult, an older adult?
I mean, yeah, I think it's a cool opportunity, especially as someone who being on the board this year, sees how having board members that really care about the students and really care about the community, benefits the students, that they don't even know about, but it benefits at pretty much everything that goes on in their day and in their school. Yeah, I'd definitely do it.
Yeah, I think I'd definitely like to go and, be a board member or seek higher office someday, do something like that. I think it'd be
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure we'll hear from both of you. Yeah. Not just at homecoming.
And at the conclusion of our open meeting here, we will have cake to celebrate.
Let there be cake.
At this point, I'm going to invite Janice to come forward and introduce next year's board representative, student board representative from North.
And before I introduce next year's, I also just want to thank Ellie. I actually didn't know Ellie before she became a board member, and I've gotten to know her really well this year, and she has done a great job of representing North High and has been very responsible. And sitting back here, I can see, and I'm like, she's always so interested, and I'm like, Ellie, are you really interested, or are you just acting? She's like, no, I'm really interested in this. So thank you very much for all of your time.
And I'm very let me know that she'll be watching you from the back.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we'll be. So this is Haley. Why don't you come on up here? So this is Haley Grubich, and she is going to be our next board member. She just came from playoffs from lacrosse, so you missed the lacrosse presentation. I told her that they were going to actually be talking about lacrosse today. So Haley is very involved at North High, and I'll try to remember everything. But in addition to lacrosse, she also runs cross country. She's a Positively North Star leader. She writes for Omega, and she's in Women in STEM. And did I miss anything? National Honor Society. So she's very involved. And one of the things that we really liked when Mark Marandola, who have you met before, Director of Student Activities, the two of us interviewed, we had 4 really qualified candidates. Any one of them would have been fantastic. And we chose Haley because, one, she is very committed to hearing what students have to say and then sharing that back. And she really spoke about wanting to keep what Ellie and PJ has done before. She wants to keep that going. And and her commitment to hearing all voices and not just, her friend group or something like that. She's also really appreciated the compassionate environment that we've had at North. As you all know, we've had a tough year, and she has felt the support from the school board and from our community and wants to help with that as well. So we are very excited that Haley is going to be joining us.
Welcome.
Well, like Ellie, I want to thank Kirk, and it's always intimidating to be around Kirk because he's a better public speaker than any of us in the room. If you saw Kirk and interacted with him in the hallways, you'd see Kirk the teenager. If you would have come over to our Energy Slam, where he was pretty much running the show, you would have saw Kirk, future president. I mean, that's his element. So thank you, Kirk, for representing our student body this year. I'm excited to introduce Ariel Johnson. Like Haley, Ariel's involved in a lot of different things. She's been in a lot of clubs, some of our dance clubs in the past, Steppers and K-pop it was called, right? Was when we still had K-pop, right?
Yeah, and I'm also involved in
that was what I was going to say next. You also heard her club. She's involved in Umoja earlier that received the grant from the foundation. She's also a member of our AVID program, so we get a perspective from AVID. I know you hear a lot about our AVID program. She's also an accomplished athlete. She's played basketball in the past, and just this past weekend represented South High at the state track tournament. So she's an accomplished athlete as well. We're excited to have her represent us because she provides perspectives that we don't have throughout our school in many different ways, but she also represents our student body in some big ways with her involvement. So she's able to reach out across all aspects of our student body. So we're excited to have her represent us on the board next year.
Nancy, did either of them did you want to say something just now? Me? Yeah.
Way to put him on the spot.
He does now.
Now she does.
Right. Now she does.
But I just wanted to give you the opportunity because it looked like maybe you were wanting to say something.
I'm just really happy that I got this opportunity. I know a lot of my friends also applied too, and I heard a lot about it. So I'm happy that I got the position. And I know Kirk, we're in a club together. And so I've seen you talk a lot, and I went to the Energy Slam as well, and I understand with the future president, so I totally agree with that. And so I know I have big shoes to fill, but I'm going to do my best. So.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hi. I'm really excited for this opportunity as well. Like Kirk and Ellie, I really hope I can fill this position and help you guys out with finding out a little bit more about the student body. So yeah, I'm just really excited. I hope I can learn a lot this experience, maybe in the future, looking into policy or environmental policy specifically. So I hope this can help me learn about that a little bit more for the future. So yeah, just thanks for this opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, we're so excited to have both of you, and you do have big shoes to fill, but you know what?
You'll do it.
You'll do it.
Yep, you'll be great.
We got them going.
You'll be great.
We're so excited that you guys are moving on, and we wish you only the best in life. So, okay, well, we're going to move on to our second reception of visitors, which is intended for audience members to address the board on any topic pertaining to Community High School District 99. Somebody's coming up. Okay, so comments are limited to 3 minutes to provide all visitors an equal opportunity to address the board. If you need more time, you should submit your thoughts in writing to Mrs. Nidek, the board secretary. You need to state your full name, and proceedings are being tape recorded for the purpose of producing accurate meeting minutes. And we'll appreciate observation of these protocols. So please state your name.
I'm Jana Peters, and I know that I am not as good a speakers as you kids are, so I'm going to do my best here. I know that I had sent out emails today, and that you guys were on the receiving end of those two, and I had very nice communication with Principal Schwartz. My issue is that I feel that many students have not been able to be recognized at graduation that have earned honors. Evidently, if you're a member of the National Technical Honor Society, or if you're a member of the Musical Society, or the World Languages, you are not able to wear your tassel that you have earned for that. And while I don't want to take anything away from kids that have earned the Distinguished Honors, these kids have earned the right to wear their tassel that they have earned. And I feel that it's really a disservice to the community and the other kids that are not able to be, not everybody can have a over 4.0 average, but somebody can take technical dual credit college and high school, get a member of the National Technical Honor Society, but yet that's not recognized. That's not good enough, or that's not, it's not what this district or whatever feels that is most important. There are many kids that have excelled in music and other things, and it's a tassel, or it's a stole, thank you. It's not more money, it's not anything, it's an individual accomplishment. And I realized that, and thanks to Principal Schwartz to tell me that that a committee did look at this, and they have, you know, from north, south, and the district. I guess parents weren't invited to be a part of that. My ask to you is to please ask staff to re-look at this policy, because I think it's a great disservice to those other kids that have earned specific honors. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is David Thompson. My wife and I have been members of this district for, it's been 10 years now, right? About. My oldest daughter was in 2014 lacrosse at North, and she got letters. She lettered for 2 years, and that was a great program for her. She really enjoyed that. My youngest daughter is graduating with distinguished honors from North this Friday. I'm here to say that my daughters got the recognition for the work that they did. And as in support of you know, the other kids that have also worked hard and received awards, but aren't able to just show their tassels, show that when they're in the high school graduation. I think it shows a lack of understanding of how important technical fields are. We have an incredible technical school in DuPage County, and amazing. I was very happy when we went to the awards ceremony that my daughter got distinguished honors at. I was very happy to see that we're honoring some of the COD scholarships at that awards ceremony, because COD is an amazing school. My oldest daughter graduated, she's getting her associate's degree, got her associate's degree this last Friday from COD, and we're very happy she was accepted at UIC, and she's going on to do work there. But the technical needs that DuPage County has are huge, and we as a school board need to acknowledge that accomplishment. And nobody's, as Jan is saying, nobody's asking for additional funds or money. We're asking that kids who have an honor that's bestowed upon them, that they're able to wear that honor on graduation. That's it. That's all we're asking for. And if it requires additional work to look at all the honors and come up with a list, I mean, I was amazed at COD. We had 20 different colors that they represented there from all different schools and all different honors programs. And it was amazing. They had, I would say, 5,000 kids there. It was insane. It was huge. And we had all kinds of honors that were bestowed. And they were all recognized for it. And I think that's important, especially in the technical field. So as a school board, we have an incredible technical school, an amazing place for these kids to really figure out what it is they want to do if it's not a four-year college. And a lot of these are four-year colleges after they get the technical degree. They go on to get to a four-year degree. So I find it, I'm here to support my friend Jana. I think it's very important that we, as a community, that we honor these kids as they get these scholarships. And that's all we're asking. Let them wear the tassel. That's it. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I will add it to we have an administrative team meeting tomorrow. I'll add it to discussion for that group in the morning, and we'll discuss it as a team.
Okay, and then we have your email.
Oh, yeah, several times today.
That's all right. Yep. Thank you for reaching out and sharing your concern. We'll discuss it administratively tomorrow.
Never underestimate the importance of a community member. Thank you. Anybody else who wishes to address the board?
Bless you.
Bless you. Okay, hearing none, we're going to move on to communications and announcements. Dan will be going to Lund, but do we have a Lund update or report?
Actually, Mark went. I was double booked on Friday, so Mark went in my stead.
There was an update on the pending legislation. I guess there's a couple different things that are flying, and unfortunately, everybody feels they're kind of just red herrings to try and keep us busy and keep us directed on those issues as opposed or else they're bargaining chips for the income tax, progressive income tax, and so it was a relatively brief meeting, but it was everybody was still compiling data for some of the things that were being thrown out there, like one was to freeze the evidence-based model amount. There's 4 tiers. We're in the 4th tier, and one of the legislative pieces that were being discussed was to freeze the amounts we have permanently and not get any new increments each year. Well, we got $8,000 in increment, last year, and theoretically that would grow each year as more and more schools are fully funded or better funded. I wouldn't say fully funded. But again, they said it doesn't have a lot of support behind it. It's just something that's out there for us to respond to and keep us busy. So we'll have to see how the next few sessions go.
Thank you, Mark. For the School Association for Special Education in DuPage County, or CSD, Joanna's going to be taking my seat. I will say this is a time of much change at CSD. They have a new executive director coming in. They have a new business manager coming in. They've got a lot of people retiring out. They've got some new construction going. And the board will be changing on Wednesday as well. So we're looking forward to all the new news that'll be coming out of CSD, but that's about all I have to report at this time. The 99 Education Foundation?
Well, as you can see, we gave out some funds tonight. Congratulations to you folks for all that. And we're also interviewing 3 new prospective board members. So that's a huge plus for us. And then we've just got our summer activities that we're doing. So that's about it, unless I missed something. I think
they've been very active with a whole bunch of stuff that'll be coming to future meetings. A lot of grants and a lot of foundation's been very busy.
Yes.
Yeah, there was something with the, what do we call it, the Angel Fund?
Yeah, we're not ready to discuss in public yet, but that's coming.
Not ready for prime time players.
We got a lot of things in the hopper that'll be coming in future.
Yes.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
It's an exciting time at the foundation.
We're getting close.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Mike, did you have anything from the Illinois Association of School Boards?
No, except to say that the National Association of School Boards will be having their national conference in Chicago next year.
Okay.
So that's something to maybe put on your radar. It's not usually so accessible for us, right? And then I've also suggested that there was an invitation to have choral groups from high schools come and perform at the conference, and so I suggested that to Hank that maybe we might want to do that. And
I passed that process on to the department chair.
Good, because I saw that same memo.
Yeah.
Just to piggyback that a little bit, I went to the conference the last time it was in Chicago.
Oh.
And it was very worthwhile to go there. You got to meet people from all over the country. You got to talk about different things that related to your school board activities. And I would recommend all of us to go, since it's right in our backyard. Yeah. And it's well worth it to go.
Okay.
So that's something to think about.
Julie and I will definitely get information together about the conference as it becomes available, make sure that the board is well aware of how to register.
Yeah,
Thank
and I
you.
believe it's in September, isn't it?
I think that's correct. 2020.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure you'll get plenty of emails regarding that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, we have the upcoming board meetings. This Friday is graduation.
So now confirmed a special graduation at South Wednesday at 7 p.m. So let Julie
7
know
o'clock.
if you're able to be there.
I'll be there.
We'll have between 1 and 9 graduates, depending on the outcome of athletics over the next couple of days.
So special graduations happen when our students are not going to be able to attend the regular graduation because they're competing nationally or
Usually
statewide
state,
or wherever.
yeah.
7.
So that'll okay. Well, that's great. It's going to happen. So, so we'll have a special graduation on Wednesday, but we will also have Friday graduation. Come rain or come shine, where we'll have it, we'll find out. June 3rd, we'll have a special workshop meeting here at 6:30 p.m. and then June 17th, we'll have our business meeting here again at 6:30 p.m.
So at this point, the administration has no items for the June 3rd meeting.
Oh, okay.
And we would like to recommend removing that from the board calendar.
Anybody come?
Anybody objecting to giving the night back on June 3rd?
Nope.
What would I do?
Moving on.
All right, so June 3rd, we will not be meeting.
We will not be meeting.
Reminder to the board.
Don't come here on the June 3rd. And then, don't come, ladies, don't come. Okay. We are going to have, once we conclude and go, once we adjourn, we're going to have or before adjournment actually, we're going to have a small reception to honor our departing student board members and welcome our new board members, and that will be out in the hallway with some really good cake. But we are going to be going into closed session, and just so you know, when we come out of closed session, we're not going to be taking any action. So you're welcome to stay, but we'll just be coming out to adjourn. Sure. But we do need a motion to go into closed session for the following reasons. Litigation when an action against, affecting, or on behalf of the district has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the district finds that an action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for the finding shall be recorded and entered into the minutes of the closed meeting, and collective negotiating matters between the district and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees, and the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the district or legal counsel for the district, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee or against legal counsel for the district to determine its validity. Do we have a motion? Barry?
Seconded.
Dan seconds.
Terry Pavasich?
Aye.
Dan Nicholas?
Aye.
Rick Pavanato? Aye. Joanna Vasquez Drexler?
Aye.
Mike Davenport?
Aye.
Cheryl Fuller?
Aye.
Nancy Kupka?
Aye, we are going into closed session after a brief interlude for cake.